It's great. We have people from all over. This is wonderful. All over the United States, Ireland, Portugal,
Yeah,
Germany.
New
Wow,
Zealand.
Canada.
You missed this one. At least one person in New Zealand. So it
Oh,
must
New Zealand.
be late in the night. Late in
Yes,
the night.
right. Italy. Wow, there's a lot of people. London, Netherlands. This is great. It's so wonderful to have everyone here. This is amazing. Switzerland.
It's a good way
Nice.
to start the year,
It
I think.
is. Yeah, with
City,
the community. It's really wonderful.
the worldwide community, exactly. So I think it's a good time to start.
Okay.
I just want to say two, three words before we begin. There are many new people here, many old friends. So first of all, again, it's beautiful to see all of you. Um, Happy New Year! I think it's the third or fourth year, Titi, that you are doing this. Third. And before was Lillian, but you will speak about this later on.
Yeah, I think, yeah, 3 or 4 years. I can't remember either. I think maybe
Me
3 years.
neither. We have to look later on, but I
Yeah.
think it's a really nice tradition already.
Yeah.
And it's really beautiful to do this really in the beginning of the year. Probably many people are still in the vacation over the Christmas time. So if you're at home, you enjoy, and I think it's a wonderful beginning for the professional year, the personal year. I've put the link in the chat. I put it again. If you want to read afterwards, don't press it now or press it now and save it for reading later, the full prediction by City. The recording of this will be available probably later today, the latest tomorrow. And like all recordings with the TCM Academy, when you want to watch it, you will still need to kind of buy the course on the platform. Okay, because when you register to this event, when you got the link to this event, this is just registration through Zoom. It's not registering you automatically to the course. So you will have to log into your free account. If you don't have one, make a free account, and then you can watch this year. If you want to compare it to last year and to the live year before, you can do this as well. They are all there. Even Lillian's reading from a few years ago is still there, and I think it's beautiful to have uh, this memory of her on the website, so you can log in and you can watch her speaking. It's a beautiful feeling. At least I get when I'm watching it. And again, I think City will mention Lillian later, but there is really a beautiful memorial that we did 2 years ago for Lillian on the website. City was teaching there, and many other students were teaching there. So there are teachings of Lillian actually to her students. And if you have 2, 3 hours to join and watch and then hear a lot of stories about Lillian, I think it was a very a touching and moving event. And if you don't know Lillian, then it's a great way to be introduced to her teaching style, to the many students she left with us. And if you do know her and you didn't watch it, then I think it's a great opportunity to remember her.
Mhm.
So that was all about this. Please write questions. We will have about 45, 50 minutes introduction to 2025, which actually wrong to say probably, City. It's an introduction to the snake year, which is starting, if I remember correctly, officially and fully on the 3rd of February.
Mhm.
And after this, we will have some questions. So please use the chat, or even better, the Q&A at the bottom of your screen. There is a Q&A. It's different in different language of your own, but use this one to write questions so they don't get lost. Feel free to comment through the lecture. It is not disturbing City as far as I know. So give your comments throughout, and we will try to pick out the questions as well. And I have a pleasure again. Like I said, I think it's at least the third time, maybe the fourth time to introduce City for this and for many other courses. City is a wonderful practitioner, an international teacher, and one of the main students of Lillian Pearl Bridges. Um, is teaching a variety of courses on trauma, on emotions, and is combining shamanism Lillian Pearl Bridges style of face reading and stems and branches, and his very famous drumming patterns. So I think we are going to have a wonderful evening. Enjoy it all, and I will come back at the end of it. Thank you, City.
That sounds great. Thank you so much, Guy, for that wonderful introduction. Happy New Year, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. I want to thank the TCM Academy for hosting this today. And yes, we're celebrating the Yin Green Snake. The Yin Green Snake celebrations officially begin on January 29th. They go for 15 days, but the snake officially emerges and is born on February 3rd. But I wanted to give you all an understanding of what's coming up for the year as I understand it, and also just to give you an idea that the snake energy is already starting. It's already here. It's slowly starting to build as the dragon fades away. So it's not like an exact date when it begins. There's a little bit of a blending of the two animals as we transition. So my name is CT Holman. I practice in Salem, Oregon. It's on the west coast of the United States. And I feel very honored to be here. As Guy said, Lillian Pearl Bridges passed away a few years ago, and her institute asked me to take over the legacy and the tradition of doing the forecasts every year, and I feel very honored and humbled to do that. And Lillian was a dear friend, a mentor, and as Guy said, there are some lectures on the TCM Academy website of Lillian, and that was an amazing memorial service that we had a few years ago. So we'll be speaking about the snake. I'll talk about 45 minutes like Guy said, and then we'll have time for questions. So Guy will find those questions in the Q&A or also in the chat. And it's wonderful to see so many people from all over the world here. This is great. And it's nice, as Guy said, to start off the year with this community and just a sea of understanding and sea of love that we have here. So I do have lots of jokes as usual too. So one of the jokes to start off is, what do you call a funny snake? Hysterical. Okay, so let's get started. First, a disclaimer. This is for informational purposes only, and it's not to substitute medical diagnosis or treatment. This is just to give you an idea and information about how I'm interpreting the year. So first, I want to mention Lillian Pearl Bridges. She did for many years the forecast, and most of you here, or many of you at least, probably know of her. If you don't, I highly recommend you checking out her information on the TCM Academy. She has a couple books that she put out. I highly recommend the face reading book if you're interested in face reading. And if you're interested in cooking, I highly recommend her cookbook. Okay, I also want to mention my other teacher, Master Zhongshan Wu, who I learned a lot of astrology from. And these are just a few of his books out that I use to do these astrology forecasts every year. One is in the 12 Chinese Animals, talks in depth about the earthly branches and how we can really understand Chinese astrology. In the Shamanic Tiger Qigong book, I find this very helpful because the moves actually go along with the year. And so I use that also to understand kind of the energetics of the year. And then, of course, his Heavenly Stems and Earthly Branches books he did with his wife, Dr. Karen Wu. And so I highly recommend all of his books and his teachings. Okay, so we're going to look at this year for 2025, and we have to look at three aspects. There's either yin or yang, there's an element, and there's an animal. So this year is the Yin Wood Snake. And what is a snake's favorite class in school? History. All right, so snake energetics. Snake represents the south, the southern direction, summertime, and it's the month of May. So it's when the energy is really fully blossomed. We're really getting into the mature time of year. There's really an awakening of consciousness, and that really is the main theme of the year. Our consciousness is awakening. We'll talk a lot about that today. And so for personality traits, we're looking at creativity, attractiveness, cautious, intuitive. The color is red for the snake, and the food choices we'll talk about in just a moment when I talk about health. So what is so great about venomous snakes? Their poisonality. Okay, so snake, when we look at the earthly branch, we're looking at the organ is small intestine, the weather pattern is Jui Yin, transformation, the hourly channel is the spleen. And so we'll be talking about how those all relate and how they influence the year. So one aspect really is there's a lot of fire this year because the snake does represent fire. It's that first month of summer. It's that yang fire energy. And so we're looking at, it represents the heart, small intestine, pericardium, and triple warmer. So there's a lot of lively, joyful energy this year, which is great. I know last year was a challenge for a lot of us. I had a lot of challenges myself, and I'm looking forward to a more fun, playful year. Of course, with fire, that also can relate to the cardiac system. You can have some more anxiety or sadness this year. So we'll talk about how we can navigate that. And then we're also going to be looking at just the aspects of fire, which is summertime, it's travel, it's playtime, it's bouncing around. What do you call a snake that works for the government? A civil serpent. Okay, so then we have to look at the wood aspect, right? Because it's a yin wood year. And so yin wood is about more of the trees. Last year we had it was a yang wood energetic. And so it's more like the vines, the sprouts. But now we have that full yin energy along with wood. And so wood represents change and thunder and growth. Just like last year, we had a lot of growth. Last year, we're having a lot of growth this year. There's a lot of driven energy and assertive energy and accomplishing energy. And that's really going to help us because the snake already is about accomplishing tasks, really building your maturity. Well, the wood is going to help to fuel that. And so along with that, we might see some anger coming up. We might have some immunity issues. So we want to think about that. This is also another big year for ethics. So for the yin energetics, of course, we know it's resting, nighttime, moon, female, retreating, that kind of pulling back in energy. And so this will be really nice to help balance out those yang energetics of the wood and the fire, because those are two really more yang elements. And so the yin will help to balance out some of that real momentous energy, which I think will be nice because we do want to watch our output of energy and not burn out too soon. We don't want to burn out at all, but certainly don't give too much energy in the beginning of the year. We want to kind of build up to that. So now if we look at the elements here, wood and fire, we know that wood is the fuel for fire. So it, can cause wildfires and this kind of thing. So if there is a lot of extra wood energy and fire energy, that can be a lot of excitement, a lot of overdoing. So we do want to balance that energy. There's going to be a lot of tendencies towards adrenaline activities and really trying to get that excitement. We want to really try to go for that more enjoyment energy. Now, if the wood is weak, then there's going to be less creativity because the wood fuels that fun, playful, bouncing energy of the fire and the creativity. So this year is about trying to find that balance of being creative and accomplishing, but not going too fast or doing too much of it. So if the fire is weak, if there's not as much creativity or fun or playful energy, then the wood isn't able to fuel anything and it's congesting. And then that can create, more of that frustration energy and that anger. So we do want to make sure we're able to express ourselves and have that fun, playful energy to use that wood. So the action of wood really enables creation, and that staying power of wood, that driven energy of wood, can help us complete that creation. Now, Patricia Book, she is going to be doing a talk on January 29th about the stem and the branch of the year, and talk more in detail about the wood and fire and how that relates to health and how that relates to acupuncture point selection. So I highly recommend that. That's going to be in the TCM Academy. It's a free talk. It's going to be on January 29th. Okay, so this is like, you can see this gentleman here working on his art projects. He's able to be creative and he's also accomplishing things. And so that really is part of that organization of wood to help us have that creative energy really be expressed in a more prolific way. So what is a snake's favorite TV show? Monty Python. All right, so snake energetics, we're looking at powerful energy. Remember, this is when the energy is really getting strong. So the month of May represents the beginning of summer and that real blossoming energy. The plants are fully growing. They have the blossoms of the flowers. There's that heat of in the universe coming through too. So there's a lot of expansion of consciousness, and it really helps to bring out our wisdom. So I'm hoping this year we're able to tap into more of our wisdom and work as a collective to really expand our consciousness, not on our personal level, but also on a global consciousness. So the snake energetics is young adult energy. So last year it was really about kind of leaving adolescence of the dragon, transforming into more of a young adult energy. And now we're going to go to more maturity as we go through this year and then also into 2026. Snake is a very tenacious animal, so it really will try to do whatever it can to get things done. It also has a lot of mystical qualities as well. So if we look at kind of a snapshot of the year, we had this powerful blooming energy. There's going to be an increase of our intuition. We're going to need to really use our patience. So like I mentioned, there's going to be this need to try to do everything fast and really just go out there and use our energy so much in the beginning. We want to really pace it and have that patience of the snake. Remember, the snake is able to sit in the sun and just relax, and then it can strike when needed. So it's really important to have that. There is a lot of bursting life energy. Because there's a lot of wood energy, it can overact on the earth. We want to look at that. We'll talk about that in the health section. This is a great time to accomplish your goals. There is that tendency to engage in those excitement activities. So you're going to want to watch that and try to pull more of the enjoyment. You also want to seek clean living. The snake loves clean environments. It loves clean air, clean water. So for example, if you see a snake in your garden, that's a really good sign that you have clean, clear energy in your garden. Same thing in the environment too. There's this place in China, I'm forgetting the name of it, but it's where a lot of tourists and just Chinese people in general will go to take vacation there because it's a very clean environment. There's really clean air, there's clean water, and what they found is there's a high population of snakes in that area, so it's very interesting. So we want to cultivate warmth and modesty. There's a bit of an aloof energy that can happen this year. We want to make sure we're still staying that connection. So again, like Guy was mentioning at the beginning of this talk, it's really nice for us all to get together as the year begins to cultivate that that compassion energy, that energy of working together, and really feeling that interconnection. So if we look at the weather, that's one of the most important things when we do predictions. And that, of course, in ancient times, that was crucial to knowing about survival for growing crops or for even when to move to different areas, all of this. So in this year, we have Jue Yin weather pattern, which is about transformation. It's about wind. And so we're going to have a lot of winds this year. Because we have that fire energy along with wind, we're going to experience some dryness. So there will be some more heat this year as well. So last year was really meant to be more of a cold, wet year. We did see that somewhat. But this year will be very different. We're going to have a lot more dryness. We're going to probably see more of the climate issues and catastrophes based on this dry weather. It's going to accentuate those already fueling patterns of the planet in distress. So we really want to hopefully, again, come together as a community, as a global community, to really help protect Mother Earth. Because of that thunder and change of the wood energy, we might have more earthquakes this year. So if we look at last year's energy for the dragon, there were a lot of wind and rainstorms. In the Washington Post, it said it was one of the most humid years on record. Also, the dragon represents surprises. So Guy and I were talking before we started this talk about the politics of last year. And, I did have a prediction about the politics. And when Kamala was able to get the nomination, I thought for sure she was going to win the election because she was a wood dragon. But it didn't happen that way. But that's part of the dragon energy. There's a lot of surprises that can happen throughout that year. There was also more aggression on the rise. That wood energy was really fueling more aggression, like the wars in the Middle East and in Russia. There was also an AI explosion, and we're going to see that continuing this year because we had the creative energy that follows on with the snake. And with that aggressive energy, we had a lot of shootings in the United States. And even as the dragon years finishing up, more violence happened at the change of the year. So for health, this is going to be a good health year. So that's really excellent news. But there's going to be a tendency to be drawn towards technology, and you want to be able to find that balance of not overdoing screen time. So really be mindful of that. This year, because it's a wood year, we're going to be really focusing a lot on compassion, just like we did last year, and actually on the other years as well. We've had a lot of wood energy these last few years. So there's a lot of building up of compassion. And I've recently been doing some work with self-compassion, And I read Kristen Neff's book this last year and found it very helpful. I highly recommend it. I think it's a perfect book for this coming year, and it's something to check out. Like I mentioned before, you want to have more, the clean air, clean environment. So if you're going to be traveling, you might even consider going to a place that has that, known for clean air. You want to avoid dampness because the small intestine, it has that fire to really dispel the dampness, but dampness can still happen this year. So we want to watch out for that. So that's avoiding damp foods like, greasy foods and sugar, wheat, and dairy and these kind of things. Because wood can overact on earth. So we want to keep our digestive system nice and strong. And so one way to do that is by having more lighter meals. This is summertime energy. This entire year represents the beginning of summer. And in summer, we want to eat lighter meals. We don't want to overeat. So you really want to watch out for overeating, over drinking, and you really want to savor the moment. And so that's something, again, with that building in that self-compassion energy, it's been able to enjoy just, doing this, being part of this talk today, or, if you're drinking your water, really tasting that water. If you're drinking tea, many of you probably know this, or most of you, or all of you know that when you're drinking tea, there's a way you can do it in the Chinese culture where you take a sip and you take that drink in 3 sips, so to speak. So you take in your water and then you break that amount of water into 3 in your mouth and swallow it 1 at a time. And that is a way to savor the tea and really taste the tea. So for food, we're looking at chicken. That really represents the wood energy. Grains are going to be big this year. Honey, sweet spices, and fruit. Again, so we want to be creative with cooking, and that's going to be part of that creative energy with the snake. I've personally been getting into cooking lately, and I'm really enjoying it and finding that it's not as intimidating as I thought it was. So that's great. So for business, we're going to see more leaps with AI. And this is concerning for me personally. I think there's a real issue with AI and how it is in some ways taking over even creativity. So we want to watch that, and we want to make sure we're still bringing that human element to creative expression. So because this is a wood year and it's also fiery, there's going to be a lot of increase in travel, and especially with the pleasure adventure vacations, because the pleasure is more that fiery energy, the adventure is more that wood energy. And if you can, try to find places that have that clean air, like wherever you might find that. Like in the United States, that could be Alaska, or it could be a remote island. These are all places that would have more of that clean energy for you to celebrate the snake. This is a risky year for investment, so you're going to want to watch that and be more conservative with those. Now, the thing is, we've had a lot of pretty intense things happen, especially this last year. And, a lot of people are very concerned about what's going to happen in the state of the world as, the United States presidential energetic changes. And, what is that in store for the planet? And there's a lot of anxiety out there about this. So if we can really bring in that consciousness energy and really, try to awaken our self-compassion, and we can use that intense energy as a catalyst to make change. And so we've heard this, many, many times over the years, but we can still do that. So that's my hope. Okay, so for relationships, we're looking at more flirting energy. There's going to be more passion. So fire energy is about flirting. And so we're going to see some of that energetic, but then wood is really about passion. And so that's going to be really great for relationships. Because of that extra wood energy of the fight, and also with the kind of more fire explosive energy, we're going to want to cultivate our warmth. We want to cultivate that enjoyment energy so we can avoid fights. This is a great year to take your relationship to a new level. If you're not in a relationship, this is a good time to actually have that flirting time and that fun time and try to establish a relationship. This is a great love year for ox, monkey, and rooster. I'll be talking about those animals, well, all the animals in a few minutes here. So what did the snake write on their towels? They wrote his and hers. And then what did the snake give to his wife? A good night hiss. All right, so now if we look to the future, 2026, next year, is a Yang Fire Horse year. This is the most fiery possible year we can have on the planet. So it's the most fiery year in 60 years. And because yang and then fire and then horse is fire. It's actually the most fiery aspect we can have. So that can be a year of a lot of creativity, or it can be a year of explosions. And we really want to hopefully go for the creativity aspect. And so we can cultivate compassion. We can try to work together to really help to work with this powerful energy that's coming our way. We've been building up this powerful energy for many years, starting with the tiger that had that wood energy, and then moving into rabbit, and then dragon, and then snake, and now we're going to be going into a horse. So it's going to be an incredibly fiery year. It'll be very exciting to see what happens in 2026 for that. But hopefully this year we can set the stage so we don't continue to polarize or divide our energetic, and we really see our interconnection. So for this year, the monkey is the snake's secret friend. So each year there's a secret friend with the animal. Last year the secret friend was the rooster. And so many people carried a charm last year. So this year you can carry the charm of a monkey. It could be a little, I have this charm that's a rooster, but I got another one that's gonna be monkey, but it's just a little kind of it's fake jade, but little carving. You could have a little wood thing. It's just any little charm will work. So especially if you're a tiger or a pig, or if you're a snake that's not turning 60 years old, that's a real important set of animals to carry the monkey charm. But of course, anyone can carry the monkey charm. It's fine. And I'm a dog. I plan on carrying the monkey charm anyway. So now we want to look at is to figure out what animal you are, because a lot of people think, oh, I'm the year I was born. That's my animal for my whole entire lifetime. Well, that's not correct. You are your year animal when you are a child. So that would represent your time. So this would be like, say, for this person here, their year animal is an earth tiger, a young earth tiger. So that would be their energetic as they were a kid. But once they turn 20, they become 20-ish, they become their day animal. So for that person, this is going to be a Yin Wood rooster. And they would be that animal until they turn 60. Then when they turn 60, they become their hour animal, which would be Yin Metal Snake. So we have to look at that. And you might think, what about this month? Well, the month is an influencer for your whole life. And so that's going to influence. So she's going to have, or this person's going to have, say it was Jane Doe, a young fire dragon. That's going to be an energetic that's going to influence her whole lifetime. So it's important to figure out what animal you are based on your age. And so our animal is pretty, excuse me, pretty easy to figure out. You can find that pretty quickly. The day animal, you need to use an app. I don't have any app that I recommend, but you can schedule a session with my teacher, Master Zhongshan Wu, and he will be able to do your chart reading for you in incredible detail. Okay, so now if we look at the individual animals, let's look at the rat. The rat here, the rat had a lot of good luck last year. That continues into the next about 3 months for the rat. But you do want to be mindful of resting and work on grounding and staying focused. The rat needs to maintain that yin energy and that watery energy. And so just take it pacing. Really pace yourself this year. Ox is great luck this year. And it's a great year for romance. Ox is really about spirituality and cultivating that spirituality. So based on all this cultivation the ox has gone through, and last year was kind of a challenging year for ox, that really now manifests abundance. So this is a really great time to celebrate all the spiritual pursuits you've done. Tiger has a bit of challenge this year, so you want to cultivate your patience. You can get swept up in that adrenaline aspect, that excitement level of the year. Really make sure you're taking it very paced here, because it can end up where you can burn your energy out and then act out and be more reactive versus responsive. So really watch that. Okay, the rabbit. You have extra great timing. The rabbit represents Yin Wood. This is a Yin Wood year. Wood is not only about accomplishing and pioneering and breaking new ground, but it's also about compassion, and it's also about knowing when to make a choice. So the yin, well, the wood energy in general is really great at strategizing. They can see all the possible scenarios, and then they know which scenario will work the best for them, and they know when the best timing is to do that. So that's excellent. And so you can really use this to help with advancing your career, advancing your creativity, all these ways of expression. What do you get when you cross a rabbit with a snake? A jump rope. All right, so now looking at dragon, childhood issues can surface. The dragon represents, well, I should say the snake represents a baby dragon. So I am looking at the dragon this year as having to work through some old childhood issues like maybe trauma or other things that created belief systems that are no longer serving you, and to let that go. And so you can use your mysticism. The dragon is a very mystical animal, just like the snake, and you can use that to help to navigate the year and really follow your heart too. That's an important aspect here for the dragon. Snake, if you're not turning 60 this year, there might be some challenges. So you really want to cultivate that kindness and to take time. Don't try to accomplish all your goals in the first few months of the year. We've talked about this in all the different predictions, and I think this might be my fourth time now that I think about it, Guy, for doing the prediction for the TCM Academy. But the idea is that in the beginning of the year, the snake's just a baby. You know, it's just a baby in February and in March, and so it doesn't really grow into that maturity until the month of May. So in the beginning of the year, it's just kind of beginning things, it's getting that energy started, and then in May, June, and July is a really great time to be expanding that energy, and then it starts to close down as we go into August, September, October, and then it really is in that stillness in November, December, January. So at any rate, it's about taking it slowly, and then that'll help to expand your consciousness. The horse, you know, because I mentioned earlier, the horse is a very fiery animal. There can be that desire for the adrenaline activities, so it's watching that. Your finances do improve this year, and your spirit grows. And as we get into, you know, later part of the year, the horse energies are going to really be coming strong. And then when it kicks in 2026, that'll be quite intense. Okay, the goat, you want to avoid the really, you know, kind of really going over the top with things. You want to have your humility, you want to cultivate maturity, and getting ready for 2026 because you have really good luck coming up next year. Okay, for the monkey, your good luck continues from last year, and your finances are great, you get what you want, but make sure you're practicing modesty. You don't want to, you know, you're going to have a lot of good luck coming your way, you're going to get a lot of great things, but still make sure you're staying humble. Rooster, you also have good luck still. Last year was a good luck year for you. This is another good luck year. You can use your humor. This is a great time to break out your humor because it is a fun, playful year. And you can really flaunt that style. The snake is fiery. There's that flirting energy. So for fashion, we're going to see a lot of more bright colors and a lot of different kind of more flirty type designs, this type of thing. Also for Rooster, your resources soar, so that'll be great as well. Now the dog had a challenging year last year. It was a quote-unquote bad luck year for dog. So you might still be feeling a little bit of that hurt energy from last year. You need to just let it go, move forward, and really develop the skills that you learned from last year, because like I mentioned before, you can cultivate something great out of adversity. So that whole idea of, you know, like Thich Nhat Hanh has a famous line, no lotus, no mud, no lotus. So you need that mud energy to create something new. And so you can use that from last year to do it into this year and really develop your skills, because good luck is coming next year. Pig, this can be a challenging year for Pig. So you're going to want to take time to reflect and relax. This is a good time for Pig to kind of reassess things. And be gentle. You're going to feel that energy to want to push and do, but take it slowly and really use your courageous nature to navigate this year, because there can be some challenges that'll happen. But again, you can use those to expand and grow and evolve. So that's the kind of snapshot of the year and the individual animals. Usually every time we do this, I like to do some drumming. And so I'd like to do that. And yeah, what I do drumming for healing, and I do it for when I practice medicine. And what I'll do a lot of times is I'll do acupuncture, put the points in, and then I will drum over someone's body. And it really is pretty effective because it helps with the vibration of the drum to get the needles to be activated and to help open up the channels. It also is able to, move the energy through the body. It does help to bring you back to the womb-like state, because the first sound you heard was your own heartbeat, then your mother's heartbeat. So it takes you back to that time of feeling safe and held, and back to that kind of Mother Earth type energy where you feel safe and you feel that self-compassion, that self-love, and you're able to move through old traumas or anything that's, holding you back, some patterns or belief systems that are not really serving you. So every year I do a different type of drum beat, because I use a very simple beat that's just like a very steady beat called the Shamanic journey beat. But I also do drum beats based on the 5 elements that I learned from my teacher, Toby Christensen, that learned from his teacher, Malidoma Somé. Actually, Toby and Malidoma helped to develop these drum beats to make them more accessible for Western people, because the drumming is really complicated and very intricate in African culture. But they distilled them into more basic beats, quote unquote. Now you might think, wait a second, African culture, I thought we were doing Chinese medicine. We are. When I studied with Toby, he talked about the 5 elements and they matched exactly to Chinese medicine. It's very interesting. So the numerology, the color, the energetics, the personalities, the direction, all of it. It's very, very interesting. So my little hypothesis, which I'll never be able to prove, is back in ancient times, we know we all came from Africa. There was probably a group that said, because the one difference in African, the 5 elements versus the 5 elements in Asian culture is that the universe began with fire, the Big Bang, the explosion. Where in Chinese medicine, of course, we think of it as water was the first element that came into existence. And so I have this theory or hypothesis, that in ancient times, there was a group of people that said, no, it's water that started the elements. And they left Africa and they moved north, which is the direction of water. And they went to China and they started Chinese medicine. I can never prove that. But at any rate, I use these drum beats. I find that they activate my organs when I'm doing, when I do Qigong. I can think about the drum beat and it activates it. When I teach Qigong, I'll sometimes do the drum beat while people are practicing Qigong. And they also can feel it in the different organs, whatever the drum beat is. So I find this very effective. So because we're small intestine and that has that fire energetic, that creative energy, I thought I would do the fire drum beat today. For those of you who read music or read rhythms, you can see that's the rhythm of this drum beat. And so what I ask you all, if you wouldn't mind, is to get in more of a Qigong posture if you're not in it already. This is something I learned from Master Zhang Shan Wu. And you're basically sitting in your chair. If you're in a chair, you're sitting upright. You're not going to want to lean back on the chair. You want to sit upright. So your back is straight, your head is upright. Your feet are planted firmly on the floor with your toes pointed forward, but clutching the ground. And you're lifting your perineum. You're opening up the point on the top of your head to allow that universal light energy to pour into your body. And then you can make what's called the Taiji Mudra. So you're going to put, for women, you're going to put your right hand on your lower abdomen with your left hand on top. So your thumbs are kind of intertwined like this. For men, it's the opposite. And this is right below your belly button. And so you're holding your hands there if you want. And you're letting your eyelids relax. It's called closing the curtain. Letting your eyelids relax, taking your eyesight within, listening within. You can just see the very tip of your nose. And this in Lillian Pearl Bridges' face reading lineage represents the heart. So you're taking your energy back within. You're connecting to the heart, connecting to your spirit. And you are breathing in. Oh, and your mouth is, sorry. So your mouth is closed. Your teeth are gently touching. Your tongue is touching your upper tooth ridge. And so you're just breathing through your nose, slow, smooth, deep, and even. You're breathing in that universal light energy with your lungs and all the pores of your skin. And as you breathe out, imagine releasing, letting all that old energy go. Now breathe in that universal light energy with your pores and your lungs, This time as you breathe out, imagine the energy condensing in your lower dantian, seeing that red golden ball glowing brighter and stronger in your lower abdomen as you breathe out. Okay, and so now I call on the ancestors of Chinese medicine. I call on the directions. I call on the black turtle snake, the black turtle snake, the green dragon, the red phoenix, the yellow bird, the white tiger. And I want you all to just keep doing your breathing as I do this drum rhythm and see where you feel it in your body and see how it helps to bring in this new year. And then now, after you've sat for a while, if you feel like getting up and dancing or bouncing around, that can be fun too. So you can really embody that playful energy of the snake and really celebrate the beginning of 2025. Okay, so hopefully you all are feeling fired up and ready for the year. There's one other thing I want to talk about, and that is the fire of the small intestine. And the fire is this energetic of brightness and awakening. And it can really help fuel that ability to expand your consciousness. And that's what I'm really hoping for this year, is that we do have that collective consciousness grow and evolve and really see our interconnectedness and to see that there isn't the other and we're not against someone, but we're really working together, and we can see that we each have our flaws and we each have our things that we need to work on, but really having that love energy for each other and really cultivating that love energy for ourselves really first, giving ourselves a hug. And in, Kristen's book, she talks about this idea of self-compassion. And in the way she speaks about it, there's really kind of three aspects to it. The first is recognizing when you're feeling any emotion or having any feeling, being aware of that. And so that is part of our awareness, is really tuning into that and just feeling, if we're feeling anxious or feeling angry or feeling less than, instead of just trying to get away from it and getting on our phone or calling our friend or trying to go out and get on a roller coaster, we're going to sit with that and we're going to feel that energy. And so many of you might have heard of a spiritual teacher named Tara Brach. She did a YouTube talk right after the election this last year and spoke about self-compassion and spoke about metta meditation and this whole idea of helping to work through the feelings that you might be having, after the election or just in general for the future. And she talked about that idea. There's a very famous Buddhist practice called Tonglen meditation. And from how I understand it, is you breathe in those emotions you're feeling that might be quote unquote negative or bad emotions. Feeling that, breathing it in, and then breathing that out to the universal sea of love. And the universal sea of love will transform that. So if you're feeling that anxiety, breathing it in, feeling it, where is it in your body? What color is it? What shape is it? Is it vibrating? Is it static? Is it still? What's happening? Breathing that in and then breathing it out into the universal energy sea of love. And then eventually you'll start to feel that emotion move and transform. Then you can breathe in compassion and love and breathe that out to the universal energy field. And that really is what, that's kind of the first thing, is feeling that, recognizing that you're actually having that emotion. The second part is giving yourself kindness, giving yourself a hug, telling yourself, sweetheart, it's okay. We're going to get through this. This is temporary. However you want to comfort yourself, giving yourself that kindness. And so that's part of that compassion energy again that we're going to really see a lot coming forward this year in 2025 and carrying over from last year. And then the third part is recognizing that you're not alone. You're part of the human family. You're part of that consciousness. You're connected. You're connected to the leaves, to the plants, to the oceans. You're connected to all this energy. So you're not alone. So when you feel that anxiety, oh my gosh, I'm so anxious. I'm so bad because I feel this anxiety. No, other people are feeling that too. And to be able to recognize that you're not trying to just make this all on your own. We're all part of this collective. And so what I'm hoping as our consciousness expands, is that we have this more connective understanding, and we have this more feeling of working together and really trying to bring and lift up that vibration of our consciousness. Okay, so that brings us to the end of the talk. If you are interested to learn more about my clinic, I think there is a link already for my website, rebinspring.com. I have a couple textbooks. I have several classes on the TCM Academy website that you can check out. So there's that, and we might even have a class coming up in 2025. So another joke. Oh, I did forget a joke I was going to tell you guys. What is a snake's favorite dance? The mamba. And which snake is in a rock and roll band? The rattlesnake. Okay, so now it's time for questions.
I can start by summarizing most of them.
Okay.
You got everybody confused with the 20, the animal until I'm 20, the animal until I'm 60. The change, I think, confused many people. You mentioned that my year animal is only until I'm 20. Then the chat was booming with questions. So maybe you can
Yeah.
just summarize it now.
Yeah. Yes, thank you. So how I understand in Chinese astrology from my teacher, Master Zhang Shen Wu, is that when we're born, we have a badza, and we all know that. So we have our, so when you're born, you have your year, your month, your day, and your hour. Now, each one of those represents an animal. Each one of those represents an element and also yin and yang. So when you're born, let's say you're born this year and you are a Yin Wood Snake. Okay, well, that's what you're going to be until you're about 20 years old, 20, 23, something like that. That's about the energetic there. So that's the influencer of your chart. So say you were a teenager watching this talk, and I talked about the good luck of the monkey, and you were born in the monkey year, you have good luck because that's where you are right now. But then let's say you're, beyond 23, and that's going to be your day animal. And so let's say your day animal is a yin fire rooster. Okay, well then you have that rooster energy, and that would mean you have good luck this year because the rooster has good luck. And you're going to be that rooster until you turn 60 years old. Once you turn 60, then you become your hour animal. So like when you're born, you have an hour that you're born. You have to figure out what hour that was. And so for me, I was born at 4 in the morning. That represents the tiger. So when I turn 60, I will become more of that tiger energy. Now the month, because when you're born in a month, right? So let's say your month was a Yin Wood pig. Okay, fine. So that would mean that influencer of the pig influences your entire life. So there's always going to be that kind of pig influence as you go through your life. So it's really, it is a bit confusing, and it is something where, we grow up thinking, oh, this is the year we're born, that's our animal. Well, it just isn't. It isn't, that's not the case. It's only when you're a kid. So how does that resonate with you, Guy? Is that a little clearer?
I think so. Yeah. I think
Okay.
it makes most sense. I think one question was asking if you should then consider both animals. I imagine that in some way the influence is not completely gone, but what
Right,
would
that's
you
true.
say? Yeah.
Yeah, so and I understand again that the animals will always influence your chart, all four animals, but it really is kind of a more highlighted animal based on how old you are. So, but like I said, that month is really a pretty big influencer. But really, it is like when you're a kid, you're going to be your year animal. When you're an adult, you're your day animal. Once you turn 60 and beyond, then you're the hour animal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. You have time for a couple more questions.
Yes.
Okay, so one question is, well, I don't know how to pronounce this name, Dutch name. Pauwke. Why is the small intestine an important organ this year? She's asking.
Okay, so with the snake, each animal represents, well, has an earthly branch. And so the animal is an earthly branch. And the earthly branch has three aspects to it. It has an organ, a weather pattern, and a channel. The organ for the snake is small intestine. So that's why small intestine is so important this year. And so in my written prediction, it's on the TCM Academy's website. You can read, I talk in depth about the small intestine. You know, we know the small intestine separates the clear from the turbid. So there is that shuffle aspect that will be happening this year. We'll be separating the clear from the turbid so we can expand our consciousness. We want to get rid of things that are clouding our ability to see and to connect with the spiritual realm. And so we're going to help to clear that out. So it's important this year that we don't overwhelm the small intestine. We don't want to eat too much. We don't want to eat a lot of food that's, you know, not the healthiest food in the world. We don't want to over drink. We don't want to overwhelm the small intestine. Same thing with what we take in on the media. We don't want to immerse ourselves in so much news that it's just clouds our consciousness. We don't want to overwhelm ourselves with, you know, action movies or horror movies, because that is going to cloud our energetic. So it's about watching for keeping ourselves as clear and clean as energy as possible. I talked about the snake loves that clean energy, so we really can expand our consciousness. So that's why small intestine is part of this, because it represents, it's the organ for the snake. And so I said, Patricia, she'll be from TCM Academy, she'll be doing a presentation on the 29th to talk specifically about the earthly branch and the heavenly stem for this year. And I highly recommend that talk. Patricia's a great scholar, and I think it'll be a wonderful presentation.
And that's okay. I think there is one last question. I think we can finish with this one. I like this question because I think it repeats every year when you're talking.
Okay.
Um, and it always comes, but would you please explain again why tigers need to carry a charm this year?
Yeah, so every year there's some animals that have a little bit of challenges. And so because the monkey is the secret friend of the snake, it brings extra good luck energy. So if you carry a charm of the monkey, if you're a tiger, that will just help you energetically to navigate the year. Now, the thing is, we don't want to rely necessarily on the outside to influence our internal environment. It's more of an intention. So by carrying this charm that I carried this last year of the rooster, it was more of an intention that, oh, I have this extra kind of talisman, this extra guardian to help me make it through the year. And so again, just like we know in our medicine, intention, in my opinion, intention is over 80% important in the medicine. And so if we have this intention that we're going to have this extra support energy, that will just help to soften maybe the aggression or intense energy that we might feel internally as we come against these hurdles. Because every year we have hurdles, no matter what animal you are, there's going to be hurdles. But there's certain animals that have a little more challenges because of how they relate to snake. And so for this year, tiger would benefit if they could carry a charm. But like I said, anyone can carry a charm. And I'm hoping that you can just set an intention. Like I usually make a vision board every year for how I want the year to go. And that is kind of also like one of my charms. It's intention. It's just setting that idea that you are going to have some support this year.
Thank you, Chiti. That's been beautiful. And thank you, everybody who joined us. There was a lot of us here, and it was exciting to begin the year with Citi. Like Citi mentioned so many times, and it's very kind of you to mention this. We will celebrate the new Chinese year, 29 of January, with Patricia Bock, taking us further into those topics. There are a lot of CTT's teachings on the website, but also the complete prediction for this year, which City was kind enough to share with us, is available on his teacher page. So visit this one and check it out so you get more information, more details. We will share with you the link to this recording probably sometime tomorrow. So don't rush. Let it sink in. Enjoy your new year. And we see us in many different classes.
Thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much, everyone, for
Thank you,
being here.
Sydney.
Yeah, wishing you all a wonderful, fun, awakening year.